Somewhere right now, someone is paying $20 a month for an AI tool that does almost exactly what a free version does for nothing. And somewhere else, someone is stubbornly refusing to spend a single dollar, missing out on features that could save them 10 hours a week. Both of these people think they're being smart, only one of them actually is. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which side of that line you're standing on, because the answer isn't as obvious as either side wants to believe. Here's the question that started this whole investigation for me. Why do millions of people pay for AI subscriptions when free versions of the same tools exist right next to them? Is it marketing? Is it fear of missing out? Or is there something genuinely different happening under the hood that justifies the price tag? I wanted a real answer, not a guess. So I spent weeks testing free and paid versions of the most popular AI tools side by side, tracking what actually changed, what actually mattered, and what turned out to be nothing more than clever packaging. Before we get into what I found, if you're someone who wants to actually understand these tools instead of just being told what to buy, go ahead and hit subscribe, because this channel, AI Unlocked Official, is built around cutting through exactly this kind of confusion. And if this video saves you even one subscription payment you didn't need, a quick like helps this reach more people asking the same question. Alright, let's get into what I actually found, because some of it surprised me. Let's start with the obvious stuff, the surface-level differences everyone already expects. Paid versions almost always offer faster response times, higher usage limits, and access to more advanced models. That part isn't a secret. Free versions often throttle you, limit how many messages you can send per hour, or quietly serve you an older, less capable version of the AI while reserving the newest and smartest model for paying users. This is where a lot of the frustration comes from. You ask a free AI a complex question, get a mediocre answer, and assume the technology just isn't that good. Meanwhile, someone with a paid subscription asks the exact same question and gets a noticeably sharper, more accurate response, because they're not even using the same brain behind the curtain. But here's where it gets interesting, because that gap isn't as wide as the marketing wants you to believe. For a huge percentage of everyday tasks, writing an email, summarizing a document, brainstorming ideas, answering general questions, the free version is genuinely good enough. I'm talking about tasks that make up maybe 70 or 80% of what the average person actually uses AI for. If that's you, paying for premium access might be solving a problem you don't actually have. So where does the upgrade actually start to matter? This is the part nobody explains clearly enough. The real value of paid AI tools usually isn't in the chatting experience itself. It's in the deeper capabilities hidden behind the paywall. Things like longer memory across conversations, the ability to upload and analyze large documents, access to coding environments, image generation, data analysis, and integration with other apps and workflows. These aren't small conveniences. For certain professions, they're transformative. Let me give you a real example. If you're a student writing a 5-paragraph essay, the free tier probably handles that just fine. But if you're a researcher trying to analyze a 200-page report, cross-reference data points, and generate insights across multiple documents, the free version will hit its limits fast, sometimes literally cutting off mid-task. That's not a small inconvenience, that's a deal-breaker for real work. The paid version, in that scenario, isn't a luxury. It's the only version that actually functions for the job. This brings up something important that most comparison videos completely miss. The real question isn't free versus paid in general. The real question is free versus paid for your specific use case. A freelance writer, a software developer, a small business owner, and a curious hobbyist are going to get wildly different value out of the exact same subscription. Someone selling you a blanket answer, always upgrade or never upgrade, isn't actually helping you. They're giving you a slogan instead of a strategy. Now let's talk about something that genuinely surprised me during testing, and it has to do with accuracy. You'd assume paid models are simply smarter across the board, full stop. But it's more nuanced than that. In many cases, both free and paid versions can produce equally good answers for simple, well-defined questions. The difference shows up dramatically when tasks require reasoning through multiple steps, handling ambiguity, or maintaining context over a long conversation. Paid models tend to stay coherent much longer, remembering earlier details in a conversation instead of losing track after a few exchanges. If you've ever had a free AI tool forget something you told it 2 messages ago, that's not you imagining things. That's a real, measurable limitation tied directly to the tier you're using. There's also a hidden cost that almost nobody talks about, and it's time. Free tools often come with more friction, slower response times during peak hours, more restrictions, more interruptions asking you to upgrade mid-task. If your time is genuinely valuable, and for most working adults it is, that friction adds up. I calculated this for myself during testing, and the time I lost waiting on slow free responses and hitting usage caps probably cost me more in lost productivity than the actual subscription price would have. That reframed the whole decision for me. It's not just, can I afford this subscription? It's, what is my time actually worth? And does removing friction pay for itself? Let's talk numbers for a second because this is where a lot of people get tripped up emotionally rather than logically. Say a premium AI subscription costs around $20 a month. That sounds like a real commitment when you say it out loud. But break it down. That's less than $1 a day. If that tool saves you even 30 minutes of work per day, and for many professionals it saves far more than that, the math starts to look completely different. Suddenly it's not a luxury expense, it's one of the highest return investments you can make in your own productivity. On the flip side, if you're only using AI casually, once or twice a week for simple tasks, that same $20 might be money you'll genuinely never recoup in value. Same price, completely different outcome, depending entirely on how you use it. Here's something else worth knowing. A lot of paid AI tools quietly bundle in features that seem unrelated to the chat experience but end up being incredibly valuable. Things like priority access during high traffic periods, early access to new model releases before they roll out to free users, and in some cases, stronger privacy protections around how your data is used and stored. That last point matters more than people realize. Free tiers sometimes use your conversations to help train future models, while paid tiers often offer more control over that. If privacy matters to you, that alone might tip the scale, regardless of how good the actual answers are. So does that mean everyone should just upgrade and stop worrying about it? Not exactly, and this is the part where I want to push back on the assumption that paying more is always the smarter move. There's a real psychological trap here called the sunk cost mindset, where people keep paying for a subscription simply because they already committed to it even after their actual usage drops off. I've talked to people paying monthly for premium AI tools they open maybe twice a month. That's not an investment anymore. That's just a subscription running quietly in the background, draining money for features they're not even using. The smartest approach, based on everything I tested, isn't picking a side and defending it forever. It's staying honest with yourself about how you actually use these tools, then reassessing every few months as your needs change. Maybe you start on the free tier while you're exploring, casually testing what AI can do for you. Then, the moment you notice yourself hitting limits, running out of messages, needing longer document uploads, wanting faster and smarter responses for serious work, that's your signal. That's the moment the upgrade stops being a luxury and starts being a tool that pays for itself. Here's the bigger insight I want you to walk away with today. This decision isn't really about free versus paid at all. It's about matching the tool to the actual size of the problem you're solving. Using a premium AI subscription for basic tasks is like buying a professional camera crew to film a birthday message. It works, but it's overkill. And trying to run a serious business project on a limited free tool is like trying to renovate a house with a single screwdriver. Wrong tool, frustrating results, wasted time. So here's what I want you to do. Think honestly about how you use AI tools right now, this week, not how you imagine you might use them someday. Are you hitting limits? Are you frustrated by slow responses? Are you doing simple tasks that a free tool handles perfectly well? Drop a comment and tell me which side of this you're on, free or paid, and more importantly, why. I genuinely want to know because your answer might help someone else scrolling through these comments trying to make the exact same decision you just made. If this video helped clear up some of the confusion around this whole free versus paid debate, share it with someone who's currently stuck staring at an upgrade button, wondering if it's worth the click. Sometimes the most valuable thing you can give someone isn't the answer itself, it's the clarity to make their own decision with confidence. At the end of the day, the upgrade isn't good or bad, it's just a tool, and tools are only as valuable as the problems they solve for you specifically. The real skill isn't knowing which tier is objectively better, it's knowing yourself well enough to choose the right one, and once you can do that, you'll never waste money on the wrong upgrade again.